Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Lights, Camera, Discussion podcast. We are back with part 2 of Rian Johnson. I hope you enjoyed the first part. I certainly did. And I think you guys did as well. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really enjoyed
Great
it.
stuff. We're back. It's a couple of days later. We're wearing the same clothes, funnily enough, which is strange. But we're going to be talking about the rest of Rian Johnson's filmography. So Todd, start us off.
Okay, so the next film in his filmography is The Last Jedi. So it is an installment in the Star Wars franchise and the middle film of the sequel trilogy. Rey has found Luke Skywalker in the hope of learning the ways of the Force. Meanwhile, Leia and the Resistance must battle with an onslaught from Kylo Ren and the First Order.
Oof, interesting stuff. Todd, first thoughts on Last Jedi?
Yeah, I was one of those people who came out of this film and really enjoyed it on a first watch. Went to see it at the cinema. I saw the full trilogy at the cinema, and came out and was sort of expecting everybody else to be as buzzing as I was about it, and then saw the discourse, we'll call it. I love what it does with the characters. There's a couple of bits that maybe don't hit in the same way, but I think I haven't watched. One thing I didn't do was watch 7 and 9 before and after. I watched this as its own. I know. I watched it as its own film just so that we could talk about it because I haven't watched them in a little while. I think it's really well made. I think I like the majority of the writing, the performances, and I think it's a worthy entrance into the franchise.
Collie?
Yeah, I came out. I'd seen the midnight screening of this. Came out same as Todd. Excited, really enjoyed it for the most part. My first note on it on this after these rewatches is best looking Star Wars film ever.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy this film. By far, spoiler, I guess for my overall rating and stuff like that, but by far the best sequel film. Second best probably Disney film that they've released Star Wars wise. Really enjoy it.
Good stuff. Yeah, this was my third watch of it. Todd, I did the same as yourself. I didn't want it to like be, what's the word? Like marred by the other two. I wanted to go in and like I'd watch it as a film by Rian Johnson as opposed to thinking of it as like a Star Wars kind of film. Loved it when I first saw it in the cinema. I went with another lanky bald man from one of our friends and really enjoyed it then. When Disney Plus first came out, I then rewatched all the Star Wars films for the first time ever, like kind of did like a full through thing. Really enjoyed it then, and this time like watching it as like a film, like absolutely loved it. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal from start to finish. Again, as you said, Todd, there's a couple of bits maybe that are a bit like or maybe a bit like not quite right, but I thought overall like I absolutely love this film. I think it's great. And Collie, you're absolutely spot on when saying one of the best Star Wars looking Star Wars films. I think it looks phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Right, so as always, let's get into the cast then. We obviously have the sort of like the main character, or the main sort of like two is the relationship between Rey, Daisy Ridley, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, and then of course the kind of like other part of it, which is Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver. What do you think of the three of them and their performances, Collie?
So Daisy Ridley as Rey, I think this is our best performance as Rey. So if we're looking as it standalone, I do think this is the best performance. Rey as a character is a bit up and down for me, more so just because of the last film, but purely based on this film, I think she's class. And again, the Luke storyline's very polarizing. Also in this, should Luke be like hiding out on an island? Blah 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 blah. We won't go too much into that, I don't think, because this isn't a full like sequel trilogy breakdown and stuff. But performance wise, I thought they were both excellent. The standout scene for me between them is when he's teaching Rey about the Force and what the Force is. The first one being he's like reach out, she does, and then he slaps her with like the branch or whatever. That always gets a laugh out of me. But then when it becomes the more serious one, and it's the light, the dark, life, death, warmth, cold, peace, violence. That's amazing. I thought that was so well done. The cut to the various like parts of the island that are showing what she's talking about are really good. And then the sequence where she's going towards that like dark part of the island, the hole or whatever it is, and the water shoots out of it, and then she collapses onto the ground. But the water, like, this is more on the filming technique, but the water like goes off of her. They filmed that in reverse, so they put water over her, but then just reversed it, which I thought was pretty cool. And then Kylo, yeah, again, similar to both, sort of similar to Rey. This is Adam Driver's best performance as Kylo, and I think it's definitely a great choice by Rian Johnson to get the helmet off of him as soon as possible. He said that was one of his main drivers behind what he wanted to do with Kylo, was get the helmet off him and get him actually acting. Because he's very ominous and stuff with the helmet, but then he becomes like Darth Vader light, whereas you want to see the struggles in the battles within him. You want to see him and Rey in those kind of force meetings that they were having, whatever you want to call them. You want to see them actually emote towards one another, and then the kind of the elevator sequence towards the throne room, etc. Really, really good. Just shout out to topless Kylo as well.
Yes.
Wide boy Ren.
Yeah.
Swole Kylo. My comment on that is, why is Kylo topless though? Ha 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 ha.
Kylo Pen.
Yeah. Ben Swallow. That's it. Ben Swallow was his nickname for a while as well. That's my thoughts on the main three anyway. Todd, what about you?
I'll start with Daisy Ridley because I think I haven't seen her in a lot, and what she does in this is fine. Like you say, I do think this is the best out of the three performances. Obviously we haven't had another actor play that role. I don't know if somebody could have done it better. It's just very much for me like she's fine. She's okay in what she does. I think she does like the action stuff really well. But yeah, she was fine. Mark Hamill, what is it like? I can't think of another way to describe it because I'm not being horrible.
It was just your facial expression there when you said fine. I don't know what you were up to. You were going fucking the last scene from Nosferatu or whatever.
Do the other part as well, please.
Oh, thanks.
The last thing people need to see. So where Mark Hamill, what are we like, 35? 30, I think it was 35 years after we'd seen him as Luke Skywalker, like actually him acting as Luke Skywalker.
This was released on the 40th anniversary, I think.
40, okay.
New Hope,
so
77, so 2017, so yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's like he never left. Obviously, he's aged, but like in terms of he's still Luke Skywalker. It's not Mark Hamill coming back to play like the sort of like let's dredge him out and give him a big paycheck to come and do it. He still has that about him. I loved the lightsaber throw. I know that was obviously a contentious sort of issue between people, but I loved it. I think when you get character development in one action, and I think that's fantastic. But Kylo Ren, Adam Driver's the standout for me in this film. I love watching him. I love that they took the helmet off. The anger, the sort of the struggle is amazing. And just on Ben Swallow that's changed my day. If you're listening, just Google Ben Swallow or Kylo Ren shirtless Lego, because somebody's built like a wide version of him. It's fantastic. But yeah, I think he doesn't carry the film by any stretch of the imagination. There's other amazing performances, and like you said, it's a beautiful film. But I just think that sort of the struggle that he has is so well done, and he's a prestige actor. He's one of those people that you could put in anything and it would work. But he's phenomenal in this.
I was just looking through my notes while you're also talking there. But I don't know why I put this, but I just put Rey Lava da topless Kylo.
Jesus,
she doesn't though. She doesn't love it. She's just like, can you put something on, please?
I was pretending I was Ray. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you've got 4 pages of that, I don't want to hear it anymore. Fuck me.
Yeah, I've got Massey Loved performance, but no. Yeah, no,
Enough of that.
I totally agree though. I think the main three are just spot on. It's really interesting, Colin, like you said, the fact that they got the helmet off of Kylo as soon as it could, because it does totally humanize him. And I think that's where it adds layers to performance. He's not just like a Darth Vader. He's not just like a scary dude behind a mask. Like, he has so much more to him. Especially as well in the flashback to like Luke's perspective and Ben's perspective of what happened at the sort of like training thing. I think that's so interesting. That we see it from both points of view. And again, the performance from both of them there, I thought was fantastic, and it just adds so much more to it. And again, it doesn't feel like a Star Wars film to me. It feels more like an actual film by an auteur. And yeah, I thought their performances were great. It's interesting, Todd, that you say about like Daisy Ridley being fine, because I thought she was great in this. I thought she was like probably, well, I think Adam Driver's the best one, but I think she's like second in this. Like you said, Collie, that the moment with the force, it was a farce with the force. I thought like she was just great. The reflective
The
bit
mirror
imaging-y.
sequence.
Yeah,
She's clicking her fingers and stuff.
Yeah, like that was so cool, and like you could see the kind of like the sort of internal kind of like try to find out who she is, but then almost realizing she's just a nobody and all that sort of stuff as well. I thought it was great.
The vulnerability that she
Yeah,
portrayed there was very good. Yeah,
that's it. Vulnerability. Thank you, Collie. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, I thought she was fantastic there. But yeah, I think all three performances were super strong. But yeah, I thought Daisy Ridley was great. Like, we obviously like to kind of go through the cast, but this is a stacked cast. So was there anyone that stood out to you guys? Obviously, I don't know. I mean, not to put like words in your mouth, but Carrie Fisher's obviously the last sort of like film. There's loads of other guys, but what did you think? Who stood out for you guys in terms of the rest of this absolutely stacked cast? Collie?
Andy Serkis as Snoke. Just Andy Serkis in a CGI role, smashing it. You know what I mean? Like, he just does it every time. I thought his performance as Snoke was excellent. The whole reveal in the throne room of like it was him that was making them talk to each other and stuff. I thought that was really, really well done. I mean, like the whole throne room sequence, especially like the fight, but we'll get onto that. But where he's talking through what he sees in Kylo's head about him like picking up the lightsaber and like to kill his true enemy, but it's actually him. I thought that was so well done from a filmmaking perspective, but also Serkis's delivery I thought was really, really good. And yeah, Carrie Fisher as Leia throughout the film was excellent. I thought her reuniting with Luke is a proper emotional moment of the film. Not just like that, but also just Carrie and say Mark Hamill reuniting in real life on screen, if that makes sense. That was really good. I'll skirt by it, but I am one that really, really dislikes the whole flying Leia thing. I know there's the whole, the Force hasn't been shown like that, but that doesn't mean that it's not true. It's not so much the principle of the in-universe Force stuff. I just don't think it's a very good looking scene. I don't think it's very well filmed. Like the back and forth between Leia and Kylo when he's in the ship is very akin to how Vader and Luke. There's quite a few shots like that of in Empire Strikes Back, especially. But the scene where like she's right in front of the camera and it blows up behind her and she gets sucked out, I just think that looks really stupid. Like, it's just, she's just standing there like just chilling like that, and then all of a sudden she's just like sucked into the vacuum of space. And even I like the reveal that she's still alive and her hand moves. I like that. But the gliding through space with her hand out like Superman, I just didn't really like that from a filmmaking perspective, let alone a story thing. Like, I'm just going to brush on by that because every like complaining Star Wars fan goes on about that. But I agree with them in that regard. But just from a pure filmmaking thing, I just don't think it was a very well executed scene. It could have been done better. And I'm trying to think like Poe and John Boyega and like other actors were fine. Like they were kind of underutilized in this compared to how they are in the other films, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. The last who plays Rose, I thought she was fine as well. All the hate for her after the film being released was terrible. I don't think she was that a character though. I'm not a fan of the character per se. Some of the line delivery is a bit weird, but I think that's more of a script thing rather than her. Like the whole, what did she say again about like whole like blow this whole friggin' town up or something like that. I just don't think that's very like fluid. It just takes me out of it a little bit. But again, like that whole Canto Bite Casino Planet thing, I didn't really fuck with that too much. I think it's a bit prequel-esque, and I don't mean like good prequel-esque like Revenge of the Sith. I mean like Attack of the Clones prequel stuff. It's just kind of, it was kind of like this is CGI for the sake of CGI, like the chase with the fucking dogs or whatever the fuck they were. I'd have preferred like more Kylo and Rey or like Luke stuff rather than that. I get that they had to do something with them. I just think that's a bit of a bit away from that. And Benicio del Toro, I quite liked him in this. The whole stuttering thing's a bit of a weird character choice, but it's Star Wars. There's going to be out there people. But I thought he was quite fun, and the portrayal of him, even though you could probably see it coming, I thought that was still quite a cool sequence about. He's just like, look, like we're all, you know, good and bad at different times. It's all everyone's perspective kind of thing. So yeah, to me, kind of zip through that. I think. And Frank Oz coming back as like practical Yoda. I thought it was amazing. And we could come back after you guys have went through the characters and more like some of the quips and the kind of overall quotes and stuff. So I'll let you talk through the casting. We can come back to that after.
I quite like Laura Dern as the Vice Admiral. I thought she brought like a different side to it. Like you had Benicio del Toro, as you say, kind of like being like really on about how, you know, people can be good and bad, or there's not really a difference between good and bad. It's kind of just like perception sort of thing. And I think Laura Dern was kind of almost like the epitome of that, with especially with Poe and the whole mutiny sort of side of things, that Poe didn't agree with what she was doing, but she was actually doing it for everyone's best interests and stuff. I thought she was really good. Yeah, with Kelly Marie Tran, I totally agree. I think the hate was completely overblown and typical of like some Star Wars fans online and stuff. I think it can be really like cruel with some of the stuff that they sort of latch on to. I quite enjoyed her. I thought like her being like sort of a fanboy for Finn was an interesting sort of like element. I mean, I didn't agree with like the kiss, like with the at the battle on that snowy planet.
We're all saving what we love.
Yeah. I thought that was a bit poopy. But I thought her as general was. I thought she was quite good. Interactions with the little slave boy as well. I thought that was you know, the little kid that sweeps up. Yeah. I thought that was like a nice touch as well.
Pacing of that was just
what?
Nothing.
What? He's a little slave boy.
I just carry on.
Okay, still servant boy. Is that better? I
thought
the
little dude, like
the little dude. I thought that was like a cool a cool bit of it, and she showed empathy and stuff as well there. I like that. And yeah, as you say, when Yoda shows up, I think that's great. Like I love seeing Yoda, especially the practical side of things, and Mr. Frank Oz, who we'll probably speak about as well later on. But yeah, I totally agree. I think there was some great performances. Domhnall Gleeson, which we've not kind of touched on, as General Hux again, was great. Like absolute slimy bastard.
The conversation between him and Poe is hilarious. Like with the holding for Hux and stuff. But see where that happens after the dreadnought gets blown up at the start, and Snoke appears and he controls him with the Force, and he slams him down on the ground.
Yeah,
the stunt guy actually broke his nose doing that. I was reading that in the trivia that the stunt guy did it so well, as in like face plant, he broke his nose. And I went back and watched it after reading that bit of trivia, and you hear it like you hear a proper thud when he smacks his face on the floor. Yeah.
It's great, and again, it's like humorous as well, like the way it happens. Yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah, Todd, anyone?
Yeah, so I love the relationship between Oscar Isaac and Laura Dern. I love that back and forth between them. I think that really adds something to like the weight of the film. That was really, really solid. I think I love Del Toro. It does feel like he's just playing a slightly watered down version of the Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like he's just doing the same role again with a little bit less of an accent. Yeah, I wrote down about love that they went back to Puppet Yoda with Frank Oz. Like that, it was just, especially having Mark Hamill there as well, and having them two together was perfect. I'm really good at separating like actors from the character. Like I'm really good at switching off and not seeing the actor, if that makes sense, and seeing them as that character. But seeing Aid Edmondson as like a member of the First Order, absolutely, like I was just like, just Eddie Hitler, like that's just who he is. Like I couldn't get away, and he was good. Like he was, do you know what I mean? It took me right out of it that he was in there. Yeah, I think, like you say, you've touched on all of them. I agree with what you said about Rosa's character, about Finn. The only other thing I would say, I know this maybe moves into, I should have said about when we were talking about Rey, is when Snoke sort of makes a float towards him in the throne room, and she floats at like this weird angle, like she floats at like a sort of 45-degree angle, and it just absolutely took me out of it. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Not the floating, just the angle she was floating at.
Yeah, like because obviously, like if like like a force choke or like whatever, you see people like floating, but she's like.
Is it not that she was like on her knees or whatever, and then he like picks her up and turns her around and just drags her towards him, like when she's like that? I'm sure that's what it's like.
But it was just the strangest angle, and I was just like, that was a really weird decision. But yeah, I think performances wise, I think what you've got is, like you say, an absolutely stacked cast. Where like, and Leia, I thought it was really good to see her back as like the sort of the general. Do you know what I mean? She stepped into that role.
Was that a Hamilton reference by any chance?
It wasn't, but I'll take it. No. But yeah, that's my performances.
Cool, good stuff. Sorry, I just totally derailed it. Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about cinematography and stuff? There's some, we spoke about wonderful shots and things there. Was there anything that stood out for you guys? I know specifically for me, and I guess you guys may be the same.
Take it away then.
Okay, the hyperspace through the ship, like that is like
the Holdo maneuver.
Yes, yeah, the Holdo maneuver. Thank you. Like that's like unbelievable. That's one of like the best shots in any Star Wars, maybe the best shot in any Star Wars film for me. The way that silence is utilized, and I just think it's absolutely incredible, unlike anything we've seen before. I remember watching it in the cinema and being absolutely astounded by it. And again, like on my notes, I've even got in caps, I fucking love the light speed through the ship. Oh my god, unbelievable! One of the coolest things ever done in Star Wars. Like, love it.
I don't know if you guys remember back around when it was released, but cinemas actually had to put up signs that were like, "There's a minute of, there's like 80 seconds of silence in this film. Really? Don't worry." That our like speakers haven't broken or anything like that.
Wow.
And a lot of folk were like, "Oh, that must mean that like somebody dies and there's a big bit of silence towards it and stuff like that." So obviously, like it's somebody does die, but it's not. They were thinking it was like Luke or Leia or whatever. But yeah, people like cinemas are having to put up signage being like, "Just FYI, there's like 87 seconds of silence or whatever the fuck it is. Like, don't worry, the speakers aren't broken." Whatever. But yeah, it's absolutely stunning. That's definitely one that I noted down. The Dreadnought sequence I thought at the start was really cool as well. But standout sequence for me, possibly like maybe top 3-4 sequences on all Star Wars is the throne room stuff. Yeah. Like that fighting is just unbelievable. And I've got a bit from the trivia. Where is it? Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver did an immense amount of training for their big shared fight against the Praetorian Guards, and their efforts paid off in that Rian Johnson didn't have to use long lenses or editing trickery to conceal their inadequacies or the faces of the stunt performers. He was able to shoot wide and show the two of them actually doing the fights, So I think that speaks to obviously back to their performances and stuff, like the amount of work that they were putting in. But just stunning, like the red of the kind of curtain and the throne and the red Praetorian guards, and then obviously like they set the curtain on fire and it's burning all around them while they're doing it. Just unbelievable. And the choreography of the fighting was just class, like really, really good. Not prequel, like swirly, like just spinning your lightsabers round and round each other, which I know that there's like a canon explanation for that in Revenge of the Sith, and I love Revenge of the Sith, but this for me is like peak lightsaber fight. I thought it was just awesome, and even like going back to a lot of the is it Skellig Island? I think that's what it's called, the island that they filmed for Luke's sequence. I thought Rey's sequence when she's doing the like lightsabery stuff around that kind of monument bit, and then she chops it in half. Speaking to Daisy Ridley's like dedication to learning that, apparently it was they budgeted like days to shoot it or something like that, and she did it in like a small fraction of the time that they needed. They captured everything. So yeah, just like I said, my first note on this is best looking Star Wars film ever. So there's numerous scenes, and Crate with the salt and the red underneath the salt, just a really, really good like artistic choice, I guess you could say, or like scenery choice, I guess. Yeah, just stunning, just stunning.
Absolutely, it's like the whole blood on snow thing, isn't it? But then also done
absolutely.
to like a completely different, like taking up a step sort of thing. So
and there's one shot just before I pass it to you that what I mentioned is that after they've blasted through the door and after they've all escaped and stuff, and Kylo's marching into the base, there's like a top-down shot of him going through the door, and it's all like scarred from the big fucking gun thing. And it's a vertical shot, like a top-down shot of him, and then he's got his guards behind him, and it's supposed to echo Anakin coming into the Jedi Temple in Revenge of the Sith. There's a very similar top-down shot with the shadows of him and his stormtroopers and that walking into the Jedi Temple, which I thought was a really cool choice.
Definitely. Todd?
For me, I had the hut burning. I thought was incredible. Like it was a moment of
texts. That one, yeah.
That's the one. Just like
Luke and his Jedi porn mags. You know what I mean? What's he like? Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, I thought that was stunning, but I like the little things that were shown as well. So like the crackling from Kylo, like the close up of Kylo's lightsaber is ridiculous. Like I could just watch that on a loop. I'm with you on
is that
the.
When he's on Crate with Luke, is that what you're meaning?
Yeah,
and like of him holding it like that. Yeah, and you can hear, because I think you can hear. That's one thing that gives away that Luke's not actually there. I think you can hear like the salt crackling on his lightsaber at points in that scene, and you can't hear it on Luke's or something like that. Sorry, I keep interjecting. On you go.
No, it's fine. It's like this is one of those films where I know like you'll have watched it. I think a fair bit more than me.
I've watched this more than 10, 12 times or something like that easily.
Yeah. So feel free. But like I think I agree about the Leia flying. Like from a lore perspective, from a story perspective, like I was fine with it. I was like, this is it. This is what's happening. I'm okay. But like I agree from a cinematography point of view, it looked stupid. Like it just kind of it was very weird. Yeah, and again, my main one was the throne room. Like it was just every beat of it was shot so well, and I think with so much red, you can get it wrong. Like as in, you know, it can get confusing as to what's happening, but it's just it was perfectly shot. I did like the tribute to I can't remember the name of the film, and that's shocking because I should. You know, it was like one of the first ever tracking shots on that dolly through the cafe. It's from like the 1930s, I think. I like that sort of tribute to that in Canto Bight, where it goes, the tracking shot goes through the casino. Like I didn't particularly like Canto Bight, like the whole section, and I think, you know, you could even just cut. I know you said replace it with something. I think you'd even just cut it down, cut it out. But like that shot was really cool. Like it just gives such a sense of place and
Mark Hamill plays the little casino guy that fights with BB-8. I think we didn't mention BB-8. What the hell? But yeah, the little like alien that fights with BB-8. I'm sure Mark Hamill played him, right, or voiced him or whatever. Obviously, didn't play him because it's a little goblin thing, but you know what I mean.
Shrunk himself down in the suit. And we haven't mentioned Porgs either. Which obviously.
Oh yeah, did you read the trivia about why they're actually created?
No, I haven't.
They didn't want to spend money like CGIing out the puffins in the background on Skellig Island, so they just CGI'd over them and created porgs, which are class.
Yeah, absolute class.
And I like the perceived symbolism of the shot of the porgs stamping on the lightsaber. But we're like, that's Rian Johnson stamping all over the legacy of Luke Skywalker because of the little porgs, and you're like, fucking shut up! It's stupid little birds. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're fucking class. So I've got a Lego one, the Lego one that's like that tall.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, was that? I know it's Star Wars fans, but I know we're running a bit to 30 minutes. But like, was that like a common sort of thing across Star Wars fans about porgs and when it was first released? I don't know. So
just that specific shot of the porgs, like there's literally one of them's like biting the lightsaber or whatever, and the other one's just fucking stamping on it. But we're like, oh my god, he's stamping on the legacy of Luke Skywalker, because that's after he throws it over his shoulder.
Yeah. But like in general, were they well received? Like when it first came out, or
porgs? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't think folk were arsed about them. They're not enough. Fair. They're not like Ewoks or anything like that. They're like main characters. They're just creatures. You know what I mean?
Just
I think more folk hated the titty milk scene.
I like that.
Hated that. Oh, why is my beloved Luke Skywalker drinking milk out of something's tit? Where do you think milk comes from?
Exactly.
He drinks it in A New Hope. They drink blue milk or whatever the fuck it is in A New Hope. Like fucking, where do you think it comes from? Idiots. Matthew, you want to say your line about Star Wars fans, or do you want me to say it?
Oh yeah.
Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Absolutely.
And it's so true. Yeah, just another couple of comments on I guess Luke in general, but the score as Luke like appears on Crate and speaks to Leia and it's building, and then he's like, I'm away out to fuck up Kylo, pretty much. The score there is just like amazing. I know Star Wars scores are always really, really good, but that was like a standout for me for like a new type theme. It wasn't just a hark back to the older themes. And the whole like more scene when he's shooting all the guns at Luke, I think that's class. And even the little the shoulder thing by Luke, that's fucking class. Like so good, so good. But yeah, so more of a Rian Johnson comment than anything else is that this film, and I know Star Wars 30 years has had like funny lines, and some of it is quite funny, but the sequence like when Rey's first speaking to Luke and he's like, "Where are you from?" Nowhere. Nobody's from nowhere. Jakku, okay, that pretty much is nowhere. Like that made me laugh. And he looks like, I can't train you. And she's like, I've seen your daily routine. You are not busy. Again, that was quite funny. But I get like on the less funny sides, but more of the powerful, like iconic Star Wars lines for me is during the training of the dark and the light sequence. Luke says that force does not belong to the Jedi. To say that if the Jedi die, that the light dies is pure vanity. And then when Rey's talking about like lightness and darkness, and he's like powerful light, powerful darkness. I just thought that was really well delivered. And then, where is it? Oh yeah, and so the Frank Oz thing, when Luke's like the sacred Jedi texts, Yoda's just like page turners. They were not, and I just found that really funny as well, because he's just pretty much just like, yeah, who fucking cares, you know? And yeah, just the interactions between Luke and Kylo on Crate as well. But he's just like, the resistance is dead, the war's over, and when I kill you, I will have killed the last Jedi. Every word of what you said was wrong, which is obviously a hark back to earlier on. Rebellions were born, the war's just beginning, and I will not be the last Jedi. Just the delivery of that I thought was really, really good.
Definitely. And it's the Peter Griffin thing, isn't it? He said the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, anything else you want to talk about? We've got a bit over this one, which I thought we probably would, but was there anything else you guys want to chat about, or we'll go into ratings?
One bit that I thought was really good, just from a Star Wars thing, was that where is it? It's not revealed until the final scenes that Act 2 is actually part of a binary solar system, so it's got two suns. As Luke's dying, he watches the binary sunset, so it's like one of the last shots of Luke that you see that there's two suns, and that's a hark back to Tatooine from New Hope, that's got two suns and stuff. So it's one of the, I think you see him as a baby at the end of Revenge of the Sith looking at the two suns, because he gets handed over on Tatooine, and then it's one of the first things that you see with Luke in A New Hope is him standing outside his uncle's house, and you see the two suns. So I thought
Nice.
that was just a touching kind of a really nice choice by
Nice ending.
Rian Johnson. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, ratings then, Collie.
So for me, it's a 4.5. I'd love to give it a 5 because it's definitely one of my favorite Star Wars films. Just for me, I've noted this down that the highs in this film are like super high, which is like the Dreadnought sequence, the throne room, Rey and Luke's lessons and stuff, and then the lows are quite low for me, which is the Leia flying. Again, not from a lore perspective, but the actual shooting of it, and then the casino, the Canto Bite stuff. Sorry, just was that's what kind of knocks it down a little bit because for it to be a 5-star Star Wars film, it would need to be like nigh on perfect, which it just isn't for me.
Fair enough. Todd?
4.5 for the same reasons. There's certain moments in it that kind of drag it down, but overall, it's a fantastic film.
Good stuff. It's 5 stars for me. I thought like it's like what I liked a lot about it was it was subversive for a Star Wars film. Like I know I kind of went into like not trying to think about the other films, or at least not trying to compare it to them, but like it took it in different directions, which I thought was great. And I thought the last 90 minutes just basically breathtaking. So yeah, I 5-star film for me.
Did you watch that anti-trilogy video that I put in the group a while ago?
No,
It's
I
how
don't
like
think so.
the Disney trilogy's like anti-trilogy, anti-Star Wars, but it's not like as black and white as that. It's a really good video. We could maybe tweet it out at some point
Yeah,
after
definitely.
we
I'll
release this
be
episode for folk to watch.
interested
I
to watch
think it's an interesting exploration of all three films.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, doke. Let's move on to the next film. Todd, what's the next film?
So our next film is Knives Out, which is a 2019 whodunit starring Daniel Craig, Ana de Armas, Christopher Plummer, and Chris Evans in a sweater among an incredible ensemble cast. Renowned detective Benoit Blanc is hired by an anonymous source to investigate the death of a best-selling author. The police are convinced it was a suicide, but Blanc has other ideas.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Collie, first thoughts on Knives Out?
I absolutely love this film. It wasn't a first watch for me. I actually got to see this when it came out. It was actually a Cineworld like unlimited screening, one of the ones that they do just for the people with the cards or whatever. So I got to see this tail end of 2019, and it's been one that I've watched semi regularly since.
Good stuff. Todd?
Yeah, it's on regular rotation for me. It's I think it's one of, if not the best whodunit that I've seen, and I don't watch a lot of them, but I think it's so well written, so well performed. I just the actual story and the twists that come out are natural and organic, but are still shocking. Yeah, it's a fantastic film.
Yeah, same. I think it's great. One of the things that makes me notice it's so great is like my wife's way. She doesn't like movies at all. Like she fucking hates them. She'd rather watch like shitty TV shows and stuff. But she loves Knives Out. Like she genuinely like really enjoys it. So like you've got to be a good movie to keep her attention for a couple hours. But yeah, you're right. The twists, the turns, the performances, the cast again, just the little nuances to it are great. And this is my maybe 3rd or 4th time watching it, and I think each time I like pick up new bits and pieces or like notice little tiny bits that are new to me. So it always begs a rewatch. Yeah, fantastic film. Right, let's again start off with the sort of the cast. I mean, I want to just we'll start off with Daniel Craig as obviously Benoit Blanc because he's a big part of obviously this one, the next one, and then the one that's going to be coming as well. He's obviously involved in each of them. What's your thoughts on him as Benoit Blanc, Collie?
I thought he was brilliant. Like obviously you start with his accent, which is the standout, but even just one of the coolest sequences for me is when Marta goes outside at one point, and I think it's during, is it the will read? No, it's during like the wake, the evening kind of, not party, but the thing that they're gathering that they're having at night, and she walks outside and he's just in the corner smoking and stuff, and she gets startled by him. I think he's just great, and then he's just funny as well. He's just outwardly funny, especially the more you get to know him throughout the film. When he's in the car and he's singing along with his headphones in and stuff, just you think he would want to play it like relatively straight, but he plays it with such like a quirky, charming nature. Like we've discussed James Bond on the podcast in previous episodes and stuff, but it's almost as if this is like peak Daniel Craig for me. Like, even though I love him as Bond and he's my favorite ever Bond, I just love him as Benoit Blanc because it's just a bit different. It's just his accent's really like bizarre, and yeah, he's just really cool, and just this unraveling of stuff and some of his phrasing, and that's just I think it's like from a script writing perspective, this is my favorite Rian Johnson film, and obviously a lot of that is through Benoit Blanc. So we're obviously going to say that he delivers lines well and funny and charming and stuff. But yeah, just absolutely excellent. Such a great casting. I couldn't imagine anybody else playing him.
I think that's it. It's the charm as well as the kind of thing that absolutely elevates him. And you're right, in a lot of whodunits, it's like a straight kind of not sorry, straight laced. I don't mean like sexually, because I know he's later find out he's gay, but it's like a straight laced kind of detective. A straight laced kind of detective that is like the sort of the guy that finds out or solves the mystery and stuff. But he's like, he is just genuinely funny as well with some of the stuff he does, and his reactions, his mannerisms, some of his like reactions to what people say as well are like absolutely hilarious, especially with the eclectic family. And yeah, I think Daniel Craig is absolutely spot on as Benoit Blanc, and I'm so glad that, like, obviously reprised it in the next film, but then also that we're getting more of it. I think just the more Knives Out films that we can get with him being the like our in kind of thing, I think is going to be great.
Sorry, just on that, and I was going to leave this to Glass Onion, but just talking about like a couple of times the fact that he's in more of them. Do you know how much he's getting paid for how much he got paid for Glass Onion and the third one, like in total, just for those two? $100 million. He's getting paid for a Glass Onion in the next one.
Oof.
I'm like, fucking absolutely right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like he's centric
Do it
to the
till you
film.
die.
He's not fucking Dwayne Johnson. You know what I mean? Getting
Yeah.
paid $50 million for Red One or whatever. Like, he's centric to the film, and again, we're probably going to cover this in Glass Onion, but Rian Johnson was going to want to have him do different accents
Yeah.
in different films, which
Right.
like would have been funny. It would have been funny, but I like the fact that he reprised it in Glass Onion. We're getting ahead of ourselves with that, but
Yeah.
just the fact that he was just like, let's have him do like different accents, just would have been just silly.
Brilliant. Todd?
Yeah, like, he's fantastic, and like you say, he's just having fun with it, and I appreciate, because like, he can't really have that level of fun with Bond and Girl in the Dragon. He can't go that step. I just, because I've seen this film so many times, I was just writing quotes down that I loved, and it was, you have a regurgitative reaction to mistruthing. Who
Yeah.
talks like that? But it works really well. He's so cool with it. He's so cool with those lines, and like, just the delivery. And when he sat in the background, I was like, obviously, because you're not introduced to him, he sat in the background just tapping the thing on the piano, and you want to know who he is as much as everybody else does. Yeah, he was brilliant, and I'm chuffed that he's picking that back up. I think it's interesting as well that after this role, like, I hadn't seen him do anything like this before, but after this, he did that vodka commercial where he's like dancing through the, like, and it's so eccentric, over the top, and it wouldn't have suited him if I'd have just known him as Bond, but Benoit Blanc would do that kind of thing.
So that was
Yeah,
Taika
he was
Waititi,
class.
wasn't it? Directed that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so, well, we've talked about stacked casts. This is ridiculous. So I'm just gonna run through the names, and then we can obviously kind of go back and talk about who we thought was great. So we have in the family Chris Evans, Jamie Lee Curtis, Don Johnson, Michael Shannon, Toni Collette, Catherine Langford, Christopher Plummer, Jaden Martell, Ricky Lintoma. I recognise her from a couple of things, and then also you have obviously Anna de Armas as Marta. We've got Frank Oz, Lakeith Stanfield as well. Like, it's just ridiculous again with this cast. Noah Segan as well. I mean, thoughts on this cast? Who stood out for yourself? What was important, funny parts that you thought from the Thrombies or anyone else that was in this film? Collie.
Yeah, Chris Evans for me was just unbelievable. Like the standout bit for me is when he's just like eat shit, eat shit, eat shit. Through the like completely around the room telling to eat shit. And apparently originally it was going to be fuck you, but they removed it because they didn't want to get like the higher rating or whatever. And it was Evans that came up with a eat shit instead. But yeah, he's just so funny. It's so funny him playing a villain. I think I read that this is his first villain performance since Scott Pilgrim.
Wow.
I think like he'd only ever played like goodies in films since then. And yeah, just his whole. You can tell that he's a dick, and you can almost tell that he's like bad, but you don't know how bad he is, and you don't really know how like he's orchestrated it or whatever. But like the fact he gets all the help to call him Hugh instead of Ransom because like he's above them and stuff. Yeah, just brilliant. And Rian Johnson says that the best bit of acting he's ever seen is when Chris Evans is trying to like not look at the dogs and stuff like that, or like avoid the dogs, and he's like, "That's unbelievable," because Chris Evans loves dogs apparently. So he was like, "That's the best acting I've ever seen." Is him obviously not playing with him or anything like that. So I thought that was quite funny. And then he got his dog. In real life, his dog a version of the sweater that he wears in this, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, no,
That's awesome.
he's just brilliant as playing like a just like a greasy kind of sneaky bad kind of guy that you know not to trust, but you're also like just going along with Martyr and trusting him for a while.
I think as well because of Chris Evans' like natural charisma as well, you're instantly drawn to him, aren't you? Whether he's a goodie or baddie, and obviously in this one he's not a goodie.
Why do you gotta say it like that?
Okay, he's not a goodie.
Fuck's sake.
Anyone else that stood out for yourself, Colin?
Well, I mean, I've got to hand it to like the costume department. I think more than anything that made Anna de Sarmas look like, you know, normal or whatever. This is normally Massey's realm of stuff, but like she's obviously like a really good looking woman, and like the fact that they make her look normal, and she's got like, you know, short trousers with like socks pulled up and stuff like that. She did like, and that's definitely a creative choice because it immediately like makes you on her side, and just how caring, like her, like the standout sequence for me is when she realizes that she's poisoned Harlan, and that whole sequence, and she's like, he's talking away to her, and she's like panicking, getting in the bag and stuff. And when she looks up, and she's got like tears in her eyes, and like it's proper convincing. I thought she was just absolutely excellent as this kind of not damsel in distress, but like kind of portraying that, you know, I'm in trouble, I don't know what to do kind of way. And her kind of transition from that all the way to that final shot of her with the mug looking down on the family. I think she just absolutely nails it. And I think this might have been the first thing I'd seen her in, maybe. Oh no, well, she was in obviously Blade Runner before this. Right. So, but then like, was she in that? You know what I mean? Like, this is probably her first like main role for me, I guess you could say. And that she kind of got to show her chops a little bit. So yeah, I thought she was brilliant. And I'll just say those two for now, so you guys can maybe say stuff on them, and then go through anybody else. We can come back around to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the whole making like Anna de Armas, like she felt like a real person and made mistakes. And you know, it wasn't like she was able to cover up her tracks like slick. She knew what she was doing. She didn't know what she was doing. She was just trying to like fumble her way through and almost get away with it, of course. So yeah, I totally agree. I think she was fantastic, and I completely agree with that as well. When she thinks she's poisoned him, like that is brilliant acting. I thought like it's subtle and it feels real, and straight away you're sad for her because you could tell that she's like thinks she's done this, and
she's made an innocent mistake, but she's killed a guy who she obviously like cares for. Yeah, absolutely. Like both literally, but also like she actually like must love Harlan or whatever as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then yeah, also said about Chris Evans. Todd, what about those two for yourself?
Chris Evans again, line delivery. KSI KFC. CSI KFC was amazing, and this is stupid with two O's. Like I know it's a writing thing, but the delivery of it.
It's funny actually seeing the subtitles. They spell stupid like STOOPID.
Double O.
Yeah,
great.
I thought that was really cool. I only noticed that on my last watch last night.
Yeah, he's just like you say, he's charismatic, and that it was when I'd said I'd put on Twitter something about if sweater acting isn't a thing, what is this? And our good friend Lorna said that it was kinky knitting, is the way that she described it, and I had to give a shout out for that. But yeah, he's just brilliant, and like at one point you start to trust him ever so slightly when they sat at that diner, and he's like, "Look, we'll help," and because he's so charismatic, you're like, actually, he's just a bit of a wanker, but he wants to help. And I think this is my favourite Anna de Armas performance. Like she's just amazing in terms of, like you say, you believe the relationship. You know that when they say about when the will goes sort of wrong for the family, and they like, were you sleeping with him type thing or whatever, like that, because you know that that's not a
Were
thing.
you boinking my father?
Yeah.
That's it. You're boinking my father.
You had sex with my grandfather, you dirty anchor baby. And apparently, he what's his name? Jaden Martell. He said that just in the background, and Michael Shannon went and told Rian Johnson to get him to record him saying that line, because I think he ad-libbed that, but because everyone was shouting at the same time, I think it was lost in the original shot. So I thought that was class. Sorry. Anyway.
No, she was fantastic, and like you say, those moments where again it's a writing thing, but it's also a performance thing. She's not infallible. She makes mistakes, and the bit where turn before the elephant, turn after the elephant, turn after the before the elephant, like things like that were brilliant. But she delivered those moments of like clarity, and then being puzzled about what she has and hasn't done. She delivered those really well. Go on, before, because I was going to move on to
just a comment on that in terms of more of a character thing for Marta, when you're like, she's making mistakes, but she's also really clever. Like when she's out in the garden with them and she notices the mud, and then they're talking about the footprints, so she's like stomping all over the mud and stuff like that. Like, what was that? What was that? Like that's really like clever, because she's obviously trying to protect herself or whatever. So yeah, she's making mistakes, but she's also catching on pretty quick as to what to do. And then even just the background shots of her chucking away is it part of the trellis or whatever?
Yeah.
Like by Maud Blanc's in like the foreground, and she's just in the background with the dogs, like chucking away. Just like the comic timing of it, I thought she was really good at as well.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Todd, you can move on to what you were going to say now.
So, well, just you sort of triggered something there about like the shouting in the background, because for me, Michael Shannon, although he's really strong in terms of like his actual performance, it's those throwaway lines for me that absolutely get when he says to Chris Evans, where he's like, maybe Haaland left you a cold glass of milk in his will, asshole. Like, and that's like, again, it's a line that could so easily be missed, just so easily be thrown away. And like, I think he did really well as that sort of almost jealous. You got that sort of, he's not quite the creative in the family, he's only piggybacking off his dad.
There was the line from Shan as well, where it's sort of like in the background, where after he tells him to all eat shit, and he's like, I will not eat one iota of shit.
Yeah, and apparently Shannon came up with that line as well.
Oh, really?
Rian Johnson said that he's by far the funniest person on set, and came up with a lot of his characters' funny lines.
Amazing.
And physical moments, such as the I'm not eating one iota of shit.
Unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Yeah, obviously like a podcast favourite, Michael Shannon. And we've obviously covered a film before where he was Jaden Martell's father in the Midnight Special, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other of the and we're taking a little bit longer on this one, which is fair enough. Like
I said this one could be 2 hours because the first part was an hour.
I know. But any other of the family that kind of stood out for yourselves? Again, obviously there's quite a lot of names to get through. Obviously, Collie, you like Jamie Lee Curtis, so what do you think of her?
Yeah, so just commenting on that. I won't comment on the performance as such, but I'll just comment on her like bit of background about it. For the part of Linda, Jamie Lee Curtis sympathised with her backstory as a woman who is fiercely scrutinised for her privilege. She stated, I've been an actress for a long time, and I am also the daughter of someone famous, and people have a funny way of taking away anything you do creatively and reducing it due to your privilege. Linda's very defensive about the assumption that she was given anything, and I've had the same defence. Like... And then this line as well. To prepare for her performance, Curtis immersed herself in activities she thought befitted her character's position as a matriarch, such as cooking meals. Like, what is going on here? Like thing is, I like Jamie Lee Curtis, like, especially like some of her earlier roles, like Halloween and
Freaky Friday.
not Freaky Friday.
True Lies.
Is it True Lies and stuff like that. Like excellent, but she's just really irked me the last couple of years, especially with this whole like pushing against the nepo baby accusations and stuff. So yeah, it does like befit her in real life and stuff, but the fact that she's like, this is what I sympathize with, like, just fucking play the role. Like, she's barely in it, to be honest. And if anything, I think another podcast favorite, Don Johnson, as her husband, like excellent in this. I thought he was really, really good. But one of the weirdest things about the film, and I only clocked it again watching it yesterday, is when he sees that the note's blank and he throws the baseball out the window. Like, he full pelts it, what it looks like in the room, and then it comes out the window and it just like ploops. It just ploops on the grass. I was like, that doesn't make sense unless he's like completely like went to like well it and like like let go too fast, and it's like a weird thing. But that just anyway, that does not really connected to his performance. But I thought he was excellent. I thought Toni Collette again, spoke about her on the podcast before, as Joni. I thought she was really, really good as well. And then the kids were quite funny as well. Was it Catherine Langford and Jade Martell as the two kind of youngest, not siblings, they were cousins, I think, were they? Yeah, just the fighting between them, calling him a neo-Nazi and stuff like that. And yeah, just his performance was really good.
He's brilliant.
So yeah, I'd kind of like skim through the family. I don't think there's anybody else. The one person that was kind of wasted is, I can't even remember her name. What do you call it? Michael Shannon's wife. Where is she? She's
Ricky Linton, Donna.
Yeah, like she's been in stuff, but like she was wasted in this. I thought like she's quite a good actress and stuff from bit part roles, obviously, but like, you didn't see much of her in this at all. So I was just looking at the cast list and I was like, I can't even see her. But yeah.
I did like Noah Segan as well. With his, we're talking about Hamilton reference earlier. He caught on to the Hamilton reference.
So the first time I saw this, I thought it was the guy who plays the king in Hamilton. They have a very similar look of each other, and I didn't realize that. Like, obviously, it was a while since I'd watched Looper at the time, but yeah, he's just a little fanboy, isn't he? Like, he's just that's what he is. Yeah,
he's excellent.
One line just about from his partner is after the car chase with Martyr, and he's like, that was the dumbest car chase of all time. I thought that was funny as well. I didn't note that down as a line that I laughed at.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, any other characters you want to talk about, or
just a thing on Don Johnson? The lines about every time he mentions where Marta's family's from, and he gets it like he says it different. So it's Ecuador, Paraguay, Uruguay, Brazil. Like,
but I've got a note here that each time a member of the family references
they all
get
it
it different, or they all say it different rather.
I just thought that was an even nicer little sort of thing that they're all just ignorant fond, which I thought was really cool.
There's even a moment when they're like talking to her in the like room where they're all there, and she's at the they get her to come in and stuff. He then like hands her a plate as well, as if she's
That's
like
when
part
they're
of
talking
like
about immigration and stuff like that. And Don Johnson just hands her the plate. One thing that I didn't clock into, like, it's just only when I was noting this down after all my watches. Do you know when he presses the key to get attention to himself, Benoit Blanc, like when you first get introduced to him, like Todd mentioned it earlier? I thought he was just doing that like in the background, but apparently it's a cue for the detectives to ask them about the time that they arrived at the party. I've never clocked onto that while watching it. It wasn't until I read that's why he's doing the key. I thought it was just doing it as, I don't know, interrupting the conversation to make them uneasy or something. It might make them uneasy or something like that. But did you clock that? Did you, Massey?
No. I read it on IMDb as well. Yeah.
I just, when you were nodding, I thought you were being like, "Oh, I clocked that." I was like,
no, it was just from like I read what you read.
Okay, nice.
The only other one we haven't really touched on is Christopher Plummer.
He's so good.
And you could honestly, you could have made money just doing audiobooks. Like, I could listen to that man talk forever. His voice is incredible, but I think how calm he was after. Well, when he's writing down the idea for like just in case he can write
it's
a
just
about
a
it.
really good idea. Actually, I did laugh at that. I was laughing at the start of that conversation, Todd, because you just went completely blurry.
I know.
So it was just like a disembodied voice, just talking from behind the blur.
Talking away. But yeah, I think because it'll have been one of his last roles. It was 2021 he died, so one of his last roles. And like I say, he had that comedy, the cheekiness about it when he flipped the goal board and stuff. He's just. Obviously, he's an icon and he's a legend of the screen. So it was nice to see him get like a role like this for his last one.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to talk about with Knives Out?
No, all
No.
good for me.
No? Perfect. Excellent. Okay, doke. So, ratings then. Collie.
It's a 5-star for me.
Good stuff. Todd?
Yeah, same here, 5 stars.
I've got 4.5. I think it's a high 4.5, probably 5. All right. Listen, calm down. Yeah, 4.5 for me for now. Okay, let us move on to the next and the final film from Rian Johnson. Todd, take it away.
So the final film in Rian Johnson's filmography is Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. It's a 2022 mystery film with Daniel Craig reprising his role from the first Knives Out film. When a body is found at the exclusive island party of a tech billionaire, Benoit Blanc must once again put his skills to work to find out who done it.
Excellent stuff. Well, Todd, first thoughts on Glass Onion?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to get like one of the limited cinema screenings of it, so we went to see this at the cinema, and I'm kind of gutted that it didn't have a bigger theatrical release, just obviously because of the Netflix deal. It had a short cinema release and then went straight to. I went in apprehensive because I was just like, the last one was so good. Like, how do you match it? And I don't think it's as good, but I still think it's a solid film. Like I enjoy it more every time I watch it. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Collie?
Yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed when I first watched this compared to the first one, because the first one is that good, but it's definitely one that I've enjoyed more and more every time I've rewatched it. I've maybe watched it, I don't know, 5 or 6 times now or something like that, and I do enjoy it more and more each time I watch it. I think I was just holding it in too high esteem compared to the first one, so if it didn't deliver as good as the first one, then it's therefore not a good film, but no, definitely a grower.
Yep. Not sure.
I knew you were going to say it. I was just, I'll set them up and you hit them out the park. Just take the bait.
I'm absolutely spot on with yourself. Like, I think when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, it's good, it's fine. But then watching it again, I got more out of it, which definitely made it a higher rating for myself, which also we'll go through at the end. But yeah, there's loads to love about it, yeah, I thought it was a really, really good film. I think because it came out during the pandemic, didn't it? So it was also out on Netflix then. I think
it came out on Netflix pretty quickly.
It was back end. It was like as things were opening again.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's where it kind of struggled, the fact that it was sort of like a home video sort of thing. But yeah, definitely on retrospect, watching it again.
Video. Sorry.
Yeah.
Home video. What are we talking about? Fucking late 90s blockbuster.
Do you guys not have VHS?
An idiot.
Yeah, I thought it was great on rewatch. Okay, look. Well, I mean, we've kind of spoke about obviously Benoit Blanc on the last one. We kind of touched on him just a little bit, I think. But what were your thoughts on the differences in his performance in this one compared to the last one? Obviously, Collie.
I thought he was brilliant. I thought he just built on his performance from the first one. If anything, he's again the best part of this film, I would say. His first interactions when he's in the bath and he's on like a Zoom call, and they're playing Among Us. I thought that was quite funny, and he just doesn't seem to get it.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And the fact that it's who's it? It's Angela Lansbury, Stephen Sondheim, Kareem, and Natasha, her from Orange Is the New Black together. I thought that was quite cool. I think what Angela Lansbury's character is like a joke about Murder, She Wrote or whatever. Is her like Among Us name? But no, that was good. And then obviously shout out Hugh Grant as his partner. I thought that was sick as a cameo. Because obviously you only hear him in the start, and then it's not until later on when it's like the retelling of the start of the film or whatever that you see Hugh Grant actually answer the door and get the box, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, he's great, and I just thought his chemistry with Helen was really good, and is just his unraveling of Ed Norton's like mystery thing, like while they're still sitting at the table, was just peak. Because he's doing it so innocently, and it's even what do we win? And he's like, I don't know, an iPad, and he's like, oh, just when you said that we're going to win something, I presume we're actually going to, or so when you said we're going to win, I presume we're going to actually get something. Like he's quite. Not naive, but just like innocent at times. I think with he just wants to solve mysteries, but then hates stuff like Cluedo, like he says later on. Is it Cluedo or Clue? He says later on that it's just like some silly little game that he doesn't really like. It's the same as Among Us. He's like a genius, but also just very endearing in that way.
Yep. Todd?
Yeah, like I just think he plays further into it. He just gets a little bit more sort of a little bit more Benoit, if that makes sense. And again, it was just the sort of the quotes that when he says Halle Berry as an exclamation, Halle Berry, like I thought that was fantastic. And like you say, the innocence of where he goes to talk to Ed Norton at the top of the Glass Onion, and he's like, actually, I've been thinking, and I don't need an iPad. I wouldn't use an iPad. Like it's so like it's so silly, but it works with his character. I like that he sort of he doesn't become the narrator. Obviously, there's no actual narration, but like he becomes like the audience's connection to it, because the bit that it's not, no, it's just dumb. Where somebody, oh my god, it's so stupid, it's brilliant. He's like, no, it's just
Birdie that
dumb.
says that, I think, and he's like, no, it's just dumb.
Yeah, and it's like
pineapple. I think it's when he puts the pineapple in Dave Bautista's drink or whatever. He's like, it's so dumb, and then it's so dumb, it's brilliant. No, it's just dumb.
Yeah. And it's like it's that matter of like Rian Johnson's self-aware. He's self-aware about like how the story's going, and that like there's going to be some moments that are a little bit daft and over the top. And yeah, he was brilliant. Like you say, the whole Hugh Grant thing just threw me for a loop. Like it was brilliant. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think just making Benoit have even more like a rounded, like an onion, a rounded and layered.
Are they round?
Yeah, and layered.
Pointy at the top though.
Yeah, but you cut that bit off, you're cooking. Anyway, a bit more layered like an onion. There you go. Yep. I thought, I think it's great. I think it's kind of turned up a bit, which I like, and yeah, I'm so excited to see. I'm just so excited for the next one, just see more of him. But yeah, right. Let's move on to the rest of the cast. I'll run through the kind of obviously the disruptors, the group of people that are there. So you got Edward Norton, you got Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., another Hamilton reference, Madeline Klein, and Jessica Henwick as well. What were your thoughts on the group, the disruptors, and what they did, Collie?
I thought they were brilliant, like top to bottom, and kind of. Although in the first one there was, characters that were more prevalent, I think this was more balanced between the cast. Everyone kind of got more of their moments compared to Knives Out, where it's kind of like it's like Chris Evans and Anna de Armas, and the rest of them just appear infrequently. I thought this was a bit more balanced. Just on the Edward Norton thing, did you guys catch the reference to our last podcast, the tie-in to our last podcast? So after Benoit unfurls his mystery, he says it was written by Gillian Flynn, who is the writer of Widows.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, no wonder it was fucking shit. So I just said Ed Norton says murder mystery was written by Gillian Flynn, and then in brackets I put writer of Widows and Gone Girl, and I've just put lol in capital letters, but like with a million O's. It's went across like 3 lines on Word. I just thought that was a funny callback, because I think it was like the weekend after or maybe the day after we'd recorded our Steve McQueen, I watched all 6 Rian Johnson films. Then I was like, I'm ready to record. And it was during that rewatch, because it was so fresh in my mind. As soon as he said Gillian Flynn, I was like, I know who that is. Who is that? And then I Googled it, and I was like, yeah, no wonder. So yeah, that was just like tie-in. Anyway, that was just a chance to have a go at Widows again. Yeah, I thought Janelle Monáe was really good. I thought as both Andy and Helen, especially when, so obviously you see her as Andy at first, and then it flicks back to Helen, like as Helen, and she's got a different accent, and she actually plays it like a completely different character. Whereas people that have played twins before kind of maybe play them a bit similarly. And I know it's not a great film, but like Legend with Tom Hardy, I think he plays the Cray twins very differently, and I thought it reminded me of that a little bit. How like different voices, different accents, almost different mannerisms with both of them. So I thought she was good. Catherine Hahn's funny, as she normally is, and I love Bautista. Like Bautista's introduction when he's like, "Listen, Jimmy Kimmel, and he starts talking about boobs and stuff like that. And then who's his bird? Whiskey just comes in. She's like, "I love my boobs. Sorry, feminists." And and then it turns out that he lives with his mum. I just found him so funny. And I'd watch Batista in anything. I think he's like just unbelievable. Even that whatever that dog shit thing is that just came out on Amazon, like he's in it and he's really good. The film's rubbish for the most part, but he's really good in it. So yeah, I'd watch him in anything. I just hope he continues to get roles that are a bit of comedy like this, or like Drax, but also a bit more serious. Even his bit part role in Blade Runner 2049, for example. Like, I'd love to see him do more.
Well, he's lost a load of weight and stuff, a lot of mass and stuff, hasn't he? So maybe we'll get more like kind of.
Yeah. I think he did that as a kind of an intentional thing. So he wasn't just like he was in Spectre. He was just a bodyguard or whatever. Yeah. Like he's fucking massive in this. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think like subsequently he has lost quite a lot of healthy weight, I guess you could say. Kate Hudson as Birdie's really, really good. Leslie Odom Jr. Amazing as Lionel. So yeah, like I'm just saying that they're all good because they are. Like I think it's just as a cast and as a group of disruptors, as they're called in the film, I think they're excellent and they all bring their own kind of humor and seriousness to the to the film.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me as well is to feel like characters, like fleshed out characters, are not just like faces that turn up. You genuinely feel like each one is different and where they're different kind of complement each other, or they're kind of all different, but they're one sort of thing that keeps them together is the fact that they're sucking at the teat of Miles Braun, as they so say. That he's obviously given them this lovely holidays and stuff and things, so they keep sweet with him, and their jobs and that as well, and things. So they kind of keep sweet with him. That's their kind of thing. But yeah, I thought I totally agree with you. I think Janelle Monáe is definitely a standout for me. Like the fact that she plays both the twins is brilliant. I quite like Madeline Klein has again more layers to her. She's one of the few that speaks to Andy or Janelle Monáe as like a human, or like without prejudice. Like the others are kind of like against her because of what she's done in the past or what they think she's done in the past, and the whole issue with the company and stuff. She doesn't have that. She just chats to her as if she was like a human being, and even Janelle Monáe gives her advice. It says to like leave Duke, like you're better than him and that sort of stuff as well, which obviously is like the sort of like the giving back of that, reciprocating the sort of the humanity, I suppose, or things there. But yeah, I think they're all great. Edward Norton, like for all intents and purposes, I think he's a bit of a slime bag in real life, as far as I'm aware, and he plays it perfectly in this. Like is the kind of allegedly, sorry, he's allegedly a slime bag in real life. He plays it perfectly as Miles Braun in this, like the CEO tech millionaire guy, but who is actually stupid and is just using other people's ideas, or like he doesn't have like an original thought to himself. There was, you probably saw as well, Collie on IMDb trivia, was each time we see him, he's like copying someone else's like fashion, like throughout the years and stuff. Like he doesn't have his own original thoughts. Yeah.
Tom Cruise and Magnolia and stuff.
Yeah, like I think that's great little pieces to the character that help with that. But yeah, I think the group in general is fantastic, and I'm gonna hold my hands up. Like I literally just actually looking at the cast now. That's Noah Segan as Daryl. Like I did not realize that. Like. He obviously kind of showed up bits and pieces. I didn't realize it was him. So fair play.
Have you seen in the cast list the other hark back to his earlier films? It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt voices the clock. Yeah,
the dong.
It goes dong or whatever. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Brilliant, so good. Todd, Disruptors.
Yeah, I'm like. Oh, Jesus. An offer. Yeah, really touching on everything that you said. I think they tore the line of stereotypes really well. Like it could be cringeworthy. Birdie's the one that sails the closest to like that line of like she's a bit too over the top, and it works. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but like they just get it right. I love Leslie Odom Jr. I think he's like he's brilliant, and he's done some shite Like, but even in like The Exorcist Believer, he's the best thing about it. And I love that. Just on Batista, I love that he sort of moved away from I'm just the wrestler who's like, as in The Rock is still doing the same roles that he was doing however many years ago, where like Batista's really sort of carving himself out a niche. If you haven't seen Knock at the Cabin, it's a Shyamalan film, so it's going to be a bit like sort of divisive in terms of its writing and that, but he's amazing in it. He's like, do you know what I mean? He's really sort of pushing himself forward, and I think it's the same here. He's got the comedy chops, but he does the serious stuff well as well. I love Catherine Hahn. I think she's brilliant. But yeah, Janelle Monáe for me is the standout. And it was if I ever, when she's drinking the hard kombucha, Jared Leto's hard kombucha,
It's
and
Jared
she's like,
Leto's,
yeah,
yeah.
if I ever meet Jared Leto, I'm gonna whoop his kombucha brewing ass, which I thought was brilliant. Yeah, she was fantastic as both roles, and especially when she's pissed, like it works really well. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, anything else with cast wise you want to talk about? Anyone, or would you go into
Ethan Hawke's cameos class.
Oh yeah,
And that was even planned. He just happened to be shooting Moon Knight nearby, or he was nearby in Budapest, so he came to Greece for the day to shoot that cameo on the pier, which I thought was funny.
amazing.
And then the captain of the ship was actually the captain of the boat or something like that, and he didn't want to be in the film. Is that right? I think that was
Yeah, that's what was on IMDb. Yeah.
He's a piece of shit or whatever it is. That made me laugh. But is it Leslie Odom Jr.? I think is it him that's talking to him or whatever?
I think so,
He's just
yeah.
like a piece of shit, and then he just repeats it again. He's like piece of shit. Class.
Brilliant. Okay, cinematography wise, anything filmmaking wise you want to talk about, Collie?
Yeah, I think it's just a well shot film, because a lot of it is kind of conducted within the Glass Onion, like that kind of floor with the dining table and stuff like that. So obviously it's really lavish with stuff in the background. Like one of the paintings in the background is Edward Norton's head on Brad Pitt's body from Fight Club, for example. And I like the setup of it always going back to the Mona Lisa, like, or not always, but multiple times during the film, and it like shows her and then zoomed in a little bit, and then it just shows her eyes again. It does that like at least twice during the film. I thought that was a cool choice to kind of remind you, by the way, he has the Mona Lisa, as in like something might happen to this thing. And the whole sequence of them smashing all the glass and stuff I thought was really, really well done. And just even from a kind of movie choice, the reminder every so often of this is a non-smoking garden, when Benoit just keeps trying to light up his cigars or whatever. And then right at the end, obviously, it's like this is a non-smoking garden because it's like on flames everywhere. I just thought it was a really well shot film. Obviously, quite like extravagantly shot. There's definitely bits that are obvious CGI, like the Banksy pier that comes up the island. That's obviously CGI, but it doesn't look bad or anything per se. Yeah, I just thought it was really good. I think there was one of the trivia bits as well was Rian Johnson was like so happy that he was getting to direct from a swimming pool. So I think he was filming some of the conversations from within the pool or something. He was just like, this is like peak directing. I'm now in a swimming pool directing people, which I thought was quite funny. But no, just like nothing stand out, nothing like Last Jedi kind of, oh my God, amazing. But similar to Knives Out, I think it just films locations really well. Just one location films for the most part. I thought it was really well shot.
Yep, totally agree. I think as well, filmmaking wise, or the sort of story wise, I think it's so interesting that it's almost like the same film twice, but like different perspectives again. Like, we get so far and then it kind of flips to Helen meeting Benoit Blanc, and then we're seeing it from their perspective again, which is super interesting.
And you know what's really cool about that is that, like, if you watch it again, you see Miles swap Batista's drink with him, and then what's the one that I seen in the trivia was when Birdie's talking at the swimming pool, and then you see the bag move when she chucks the recorder in her bag. When you see Helen, Andy, chuck the recorder in her bag, and then you see her sit down, and then when Birdie moves her hat, it's as if she's always been there, but then you don't know until later that she arrives, like last second for that. But if you watch closely the first time around, you do see that happen. So it's as if like he compared it to The Prestige in terms of like you get told about The Prestige that there's two birds Spoiler for The Prestige if you've not seen it. We'll tune back in for our Nolan episode whenever we do that. But you get told at the beginning, in a way, what the whole plot is, and in this, everything's shown to you. Like if you're watching closely enough.
Yep. Todd?
Yeah, I love the board at the beginning, and I love how that's shot and like it's zipping between the different people trying to like figure out how to open the board on the call. I thought that was really cool, and like as the board itself opens and moves, that was excellent. And just the way the lighthouse lights some of the scenes, I thought was a really like cool decision. Just gives that atmosphere. But like you say, just really competently shot. Nothing that's gonna like take your breath away, but everything is just really well shot throughout the film.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think I've can.
I know we've not really talked on cinematography and stuff like that, but it's the same guy he's used since Brick. Like it's the same cinematographer, Steve Yedlin, that he's used since Brick, which I think is pretty cool.
There was actually I put out our trailer on, so I put it on YouTube Shorts, Twitter, and then I just chuck it on my TikTok as well, just to get some sort of like obviously traffic and things. There was someone that actually commented on it, and they were saying how they love the fact that the way the sort of like the work together and the way they move the camera and stuff as well. Steve Yedlin, I definitely think that's something that's consistent across the films. Is obviously the relationship and how they work together. So yeah, absolutely, completely agree. Yeah, anything else we want to talk about, or we exhausted all of our notes and
all good
pieces and good stuff? Perfect. Okay, so scoring, Collie.
4.5 for me. Not quite as good as the first one, but still an excellent film.
Todd?
I went in with 5. I love it.
The first time?
Maybe not the first time.
I went 4.5 as well. I think it was 4 in my first watch, 4.5 in the second watch. I think this is a lower 4.5 than Knives Out, but yeah, 4.5. Yeah, fantastic. So that's us done, Rian Johnson. Did we have fun, boys?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the second half, more so.
Yeah, definitely. Shall we go through our rankings then? For the films. Todd. In fact, no, Todd, you go last because it's your choice. So, Collie.
So I'll go bottom to top. So Brothers Bloom at the bottom with 2.5, Brick with 4, and then I've got 3 4.5s. But I've kind of went Glass Onion, Last Jedi, Looper. So Looper second because that was the one I said that I could maybe make that 5 eventually, and then tops Knives Out with the 5. So I say, what about you?
Yeah, so I've went Brothers Bloom last, obviously. Then Brick, and then like the top 4. It's like, well, I've got Last Jedi top obviously because I get 5 stars, but Looper 4, Glass Onion 3, Knives Out 2, Last Jedi 1. But like for me, Looper, Glass Onion, Knives Out, there's not too much between them, to be fair.
Yeah, I only put Looper ahead of Last Jedi after watching it yesterday.
Todd?
Brothers Bloom at the bottom, Brick, The Last Jedi, Glass Onion, Looper, and then Knives Out at the top for me.
Fantastic. Fair enough. Good stuff. Well, that is us done with Rian Johnson. Again, let us know below what you have thought about Rian Johnson and what your thoughts are on him and his films, and do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Let us know. Let's chat about it. But our next one is a wee bit special, isn't it, boys? The next episode we're doing is on the Oscars. So Oscars is 25th of March, I think it is. 23rd of March.
Oh, it's the start of March, is it not?
Oh, maybe the start of March, actually. Yeah, I think you're right. I hope I've booked off the right
Monday the 3rd. Monday the 3rd of March for us. So yeah, Sunday the 2nd
Sunday
in
the 2nd.
States.
Okay. I hope I've booked. Oh, okay, no, it's fine. Yeah. There's something else on mind. It's fine. So yes, we will be releasing our next episodes probably about a week or so before.
Tail end of February.
Yeah, tail end of February for the Oscars special.
You want to say what categories we cover?
I certainly can do. Yes, as per the previous Oscar specials that we have done, we cover a range of categories. So we got Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Cinematography, VFX, we put them into one, Animated Feature, and of course, worst picture as well. And if you want to get involved, if you want to keep a note and things, we have made a spreadsheet as well that is available on our Twitter. If you want it, just let us know as well below in the comments, and we can certainly send it across yourselves as well. But it just means you can take a wee note of things. But yeah, the Oscars special, which that started this podcast, really, didn't it? I can't believe it's been like.
So will this be our 4th time doing it? Or 5th?
I think it's 4, isn't it?
Okay.
Because we did like 2 Oscars that when it wasn't, or weren't actually a podcast as such.
And then,
we
this will
did.
be, so it'll be our 4th then.
Yeah, I think so. Is it? I can't remember. It might be
4th. Yeah.
Is it
2
4th?
individual Oscar podcasts, and then 2 as this will be our second as Lights
An
Camera
actual
Discussion.
podcast. Yeah, well, interesting stuff. And then after that, just to make you aware as well, the next director that we'll be doing, so in March's release, will be, is that right? Yeah, end of
Yes.
March, yeah. It was my choice, and it was Shane Black. Shane Black. So we'll be covering Shane Black and his films, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, The Nice Guys, and The Predator. Not Predators with Adrian Brody, The Predator.
Not the good ones.
Not the good ones.
Spoiler alert.
the really bad one. Yeah, so we will be covering Shane Black's there. But guys, thank you so much for listening, for watching. Again, let us know below what you thought if you're wanting the Oscar spreadsheet. If you have any predictions for Oscars, let us know, and we can discuss it from there. But guys, thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Take it easy.
See you in a bit.